Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah, how are you?
That was fine.
All right.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
So can we start? All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
afternoon, sir.
Yeah, where did we stop the last time? So where did we stop the last one? In our last class. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
Where did we stop last?
Data analytics expressions.
Okay, DAX.
Yes.
Okay, DAX. All right. So we try to just cover the basics, right? So that you can understand how DAX works. Okay. But let's just, since we're just doing a wrap up, so let's just go through most of what we have done, isn't it? And we said that most time as data analysts, what are the three things that you do as analysts? What are the three things we do as analysts? Yes. What are the three things we do as data analysts?
Get clean and transform.
You what?
Get data.
Yes, you extract the data. After you extract, what do you do next?
Transform.
We analyze.
You analyze. With that analyzing, you need to first of all clean and transform it. Then we now what? Visualize.
Visualize.
You know, good. And we talked about the tool. Which tool do we use to extract the data? Which tool do we use to extract?
SQL.
We use what? SQL, isn't it? Which tool do we use to analyze?
Power BI.
Power BI. Power BI is not mostly for analysis per se, right? But you can also do this.
Excel.
You use mostly your Excel, isn't it? Or what?
R.
R or your Python, isn't it?
Python.
Yes. Now, to visualize your reports, which tool do you now use to visualize?
Tableau.
You can use Tableau, right? You can use Tableau.
Yeah.
You can use the Power BI. Okay. Now, even inside the Power BI, you can still call it analysis, but mostly it's a reporting data visualization tool. Okay. Even with your visualization, you can also do your visualization in Excel, in R, and in Python. But you just need to know specifically what the tools are used for. All right. So we started by looking at what Power BI, right? And in Power BI, what we have done so far, we have seen how to import your data, right? We have seen how to import data. We have seen importation. You can import with what? From Excel, from where? CSV, from the website, from SQL, isn't it? From a database. I think we have shown these ones. How to import data from an Excel file, from a CSV file, from a website, and from a database. Okay. So the next aspect we looked at was what? Data wrangling. What is data wrangling? What is data wrangling?
Data transformation and manipulation.
Transformation and data cleaning. Is it not? That's what we technically call data wrangling. So how to clean and transform what? The data. Okay. So after that, we looked at what? How to model the data. Data modeling. Right? So we see how to connect all the data together, isn't it? Then from there, we did introduced to DAX. Is it not? Then now the last part is now data visualization. The data visualization is the list of your problem, right? It's the list because visualization you can easily learn it. The only thing that takes time normally is just the aesthetics about it, right? How to make it more visually appealing, right? So we'll look at a bit of data visualization today, okay? But this is what we have done so far. Is that okay? So when you say you are dealing with Power BI is not just visualization. There's a whole lot that goes at the back end before you see those fancy reports that we see, right? Okay, good. So what we can do, let me clear. I hope this is clear. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay, now, but another thing we must take note of, you see, in practice, right? Most time, what we need to do is that most of these reports we do, you see, especially the first time you are going to try to build a report, you see how long it takes you to do that, right? And that's why when you are building reports, there are basically maybe 6 things that you actually will do. Maybe like 6 activities you will do. The first one is to extract the data. That means you need to download the data from the different sources. Is it not? That's the first thing you need to do. Next thing you need to do is to clean and transform that data. Is it not? Clean and transform the data. Now, when you have cleaned and transformed the data, right? Yes, you may also need to model it and all. But you see, what the management want to see, there are certain things, certain KPIs they want to track. Is it not? And what are they looking out for? How is this increasing our revenues? Is it not? How is it increasing our profits? Or how is it reducing our costs? So irrespective of the report you are doing, you must speak to basically those 3 things. Okay. Yes, you may have different KPIs, the region we cover, you get different insights you may want to show, right? But again, once you are done with those KPIs, the next thing you now need to do is to now populate the report. Okay. Before you will be using, so after maybe from Excel, even Power BI, they will now take it to maybe like PowerPoint, right? But that's why Power BI is also like a tool that you can also use to also do your presentations. So that's why if you look at your Power BI, let me clear all this. You can see that if I take this up a bit, can you see if I maximize the screen here, see fit to page, or if you want to increase it, right? So sometimes you see people also do presentations right inside Power BI. Okay, so you also do what? Your reports. You can do your reports, right? Then once you are done with the reports, the next thing you need to do is to what? Present to management, right? Present to management. And in presenting to management, sometimes it may not just be like you are presenting to the board. Sometimes once you are done with it, you can now deploy it, right? So that's why most times you will need to be connected to the Power BI service, because that's where actually you are going to share it. So once you share that report, so you can see publish, so you now have to publish that report. It will now go online, right? So when you are now building, so whoever is interested in it, right, whether it's management or whoever, they can easily now what? Consume that report, either on their mobile phone, on their tablet, on their PC, right? No matter where they are, okay? But yes, again, you can also do presentations to management. But what is more important is that you act on the insight. You know, you must take what actions, design strategy around those what insights that you have what seen. You know, how can we what further improve revenues, reduce costs, or what maximize what profits? Okay. But in all these activities, which of them is the most important? Of all these activities we have mentioned, downloading the data, cleaning, building your KPIs, populating the report, presentation, right, and brainstorming and acting on the insight. Which of them is more important? Which of them is more important? Yeah. So of all these steps we mentioned, which of them is the most important?
Okay, Dr. Francis, I will say extracting the data in the sense that if the data is wrongly, you know, if you get the wrong data, or if you can't even extract the data, you can't do anything in the first instance.
Right.
So at that point, I will consider that as being important. Yes,
So
to analyze is
right,
important.
getting the right data, right? Getting the right data.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Good. But you know that it's assumed that when they hire you as a professional, is it not? There are certain things you already know how to do. Isn't it? It's assumed there are certain things you already know how to do. Okay. So yes, extraction is one, analyzing is another one, isn't it? But you see, what management is interested in, they don't care how you did it. Are they interested in how you did it? They have given you tasks. Your job is to what? Go and do it, isn't it? So they don't care how you did it. What are they interested in? What is
Quality
management
of information you are able to provide.
Final results.
Your final report, you know, what insight did you get from it? So that's why when you are doing your presentations, right, you don't present how you have gone about. Nobody cares how you did it. Tell us what you found out. So the only time maybe you are, so that's why whenever you're also presenting, you also need to know who your audience is, right? If it's your fellow analyst, then it's more important to them how you have gone about it, is it not? But when it now gets to management level, they don't care how you did it. What they're interested in is what did you find out and what should we do? So that's why most times we are expected to spend more time on the insights that you get, brainstorm around what the insights that you have derived, isn't it? But you see, the challenge is that most time we are more focused on the ad hoc reports, the data cleaning, the transformation. So that takes a lot of time. Okay. And that is why it is important that what you always think about how to automate the process. So you don't have to start doing it all over again, over and over again, right? So that's why you must always think about how to automate that process. Okay. And in automating the process, this will now lead you to things like programming, right? Automation. Okay. Yes, in Power BI, you can also do some automations, right? Especially when you are trying to consolidate data from different places, right? So you always think about how to also consolidate it. All right. So maybe let's quickly go into it. Let's say, for example, which data do we, okay, we are using Superstore. Okay, so let's get Superstore data. So it's an Excel file. So let's see. Let me use this one. Okay, well, this is just one region. So let me take it. Let me just use the other Superstore. Maybe we'll come back to that much later. So remember what we said, that most times your data is never clean, isn't it? No matter how structured it looks, there's always an issue with it. Okay. But for now, we are going to assume that the data is clean. Okay. But you know, in the real world, there must always be an issue. There's always an issue. Okay, there's always an issue. All right, so now you have imported the data, so you can see the data here, right? You can see the data here. Now, for those who have the newer version, sometimes you may not even see the data here anymore, right? So you just have to come to this your data sheet so that you can see it here, right? You remember, this is your report view, this is your what? Data view, and this is your what? Model view. Okay, good. So once you have the data there, so you have your visual galleries. Can you see your visual galleries? Before, you would have seen it somewhere here, but now they have moved it to this point here. So now you can see your visuals here. You can now see your what? Visuals. So remember again that when you are working with your visuals, you also need to understand what the objective of your analysis is, because sometimes that's what will guide you to choose which visual you need to do. Okay. Sometimes I'm looking for relationship, right? Or maybe I'm trying to compare, right? I'm trying to find the composition, right? Or I'm trying to find the distribution, right? And remember again, it now depends on the kind of data that you have, right? So am I interested in 1, 2, or more variables? That's maybe 3 or more variables, right? Or is the data I'm looking at, is it at a point in time or what? Over time? Is it not? Data at a point in time, what do we call it? Data at a point in time, what do we call it? When you collect data at a point in time, like a questionnaire, what kind of data do we call that? Yes, what do we call that kind of data? Data at a point in time. Yes, what do we call it? Data at a point in time, what do we call it? Data analyst. What do we call data at a point in time?
Cross-sectional.
Yes, it's called cross-sectional what data, isn't it? It's called cross-sectional what data, which means that data is static, is it not? It's at a point in time, it doesn't change. Or we can look at data over a period of time. So data over a period of time, what do we call it?
Time series.
Time series, you know, so it means it changes over time, right? So that's why before you start your visualization, you first of all need to understand the kind of data you're working with, right? And remember, from the problem, we have certain questions, you know, and those questions, I am either trying to compare, find relationship, or find the composition. Okay, or it can be a distribution. So when we now look at the visual gallery, you can see column and bar charts. Mostly you are trying to what? Compare static data or cross-sectional data. Okay, it can be 1, 2, or 3 variables. Line chart is usually what? For time series data, data over a period of time. Is it not? Where you have your waterfall, your funnel charts, those ones are usually looking at like a composition also. It can also be comparison, but it can also be composition. But your scatter chart, mostly that's to find relationship, right? Again, you see your pie chart, your donut chart, your tree map, again, that's for what? Composition, okay? And all this is what you normally have in your Excel, right? Except for this, your, like your maps now, these are now different kind of data now, like your maps, your gauge, your cards, your KPIs, right? And your slicers. So these are now a bit different kind of what charts. Now you also have your AI, for example, your key influencers, right? Your key decomposition tree, your Q&A. So as you put the chart there, you have your what? Q&A. Then you also have your smart narrative. Okay. Now, especially if you are doing something much more complex, right? Especially where the visual doesn't appear here. And you have other visual that you want to illustrate, maybe your R or Python, you can also bring those ones. Okay. So maybe these ones can be illustrated much more later when you're already familiar with Python or R. All right. So we just introduced to the basic ones that we have here. So with the new way they have structured Power BI, it's a little bit different from the old way of doing it, right? So the more you, before, once we have the data here, what we would have done is just to drag our category here, right? Then maybe take our sales or maybe take profits and drop it here. This is how we normally would have done it before, right? But now, most times, maybe in your own version, it may not just come up straight like this. So what you do, you first come here to visual. You now look at, okay, which chart do I want to use? So maybe it's a bar chart. So I pick a bar chart. Okay, once I pick a bar chart, you know, in primary school, they will tell us our X and Y axis. So this is your what? Your Y axis, and this is your what? X axis, is it not? So when you look at it, on your y-axis, most times that is where you have the word quantitative data. Why this is your word qualitative data. But when it changes, you may still look at it as X and Y. So let me show you now. So for example, your X-axis. So if I take X-axis now, what should be my X-axis? So if I take category, my X-axis, you can see category there. Now in my Y-axis, what do I want there? Let's say I want the profits, right? So I put profit there. So you see how it has arranged it. But if I now switch it to this other kind of chart now, it means that here will now become my y-axis, y here will become my what? X-axis. Can you see that? Because in the new format, it's not as straightforward as it used to be before. So that's why, if, for example, if I have come here and I want this chart here like this, okay, so this is the chart. So it means on my y-axis here is now going to be what? Maybe my category. Y on my x-axis here will now become my what? Profits or my values. Do you see how it works now? Okay, so that you now know how to choose which is which. Then if my legend, if I want to now break it down, let's say by another variable. Let's say I want to break it by region, and I add my this thing there. So it will now break it down by the region. Okay. So that's one way of doing it. Let's go to another way of doing it again. So if I come here, so maybe I'll make sure you look at the kind of chart you are dealing with. So the kind of chart will now determine. Okay. So this is a stack bar chart, and this is a column chart. Okay. So if I have picked this, which means my values will be on my y-axis and my category of my qualitative data will be on my x-axis. So I'll now pick x-axis, I'll pick my category. On my y-axis, I'll pick my value. So let's say profit. So if I want to break it further, let's say by legend. So now I can put my maybe region or something there. I can pick region there. So you see, now it will now break it this form. So just for you to check what kind of charts you are dealing with, then you can play around it and now see what works for you. Okay. Like me, naturally, I'm not a very artistic person, right? So before I'll pick it up, I'll first of all think about everything I want to show. So that's why you must always think about it. Start from the problem. From the problem, those questions that are raised, what answers do management want to see? Isn't it? So it's around those questions we are going to build the KPIs. Isn't it? So that's what will first of all guide me. Okay. Then once I've gotten all those KPIs I want to get, then I will list all of them out. Now the next is that how do I lay it out? Okay. So I can go on, for example, I can go on Google, right? I can go on Google, right? And I can say, okay, let me look for dashboard on Google, right? I can go on Google and say, okay, maybe I can show it how we are doing it. Maybe Google. So maybe I can type here dashboards, right? Maybe dashboards. So once I say dashboards, I'll come here to images. Now, can you see different formats? Now, can you see how the different formats look? Right? Some people are naturally just gifted that they just know how to combine colors and everything, right? They are just naturally gifted in it. So I can just look at different color themes. So I now ask myself, okay, what color theme do I need? Maybe it's red and black. Red and black. So I'll now check. So can you see another version again? Right? You can see another version again. So once I have seen, okay, I like this color combination. And most times again, when you are looking through reports, once you see different color combination, you just take note of them. For example, you can have red and black. Sometimes you can have maybe purple and white. Right? Purple and white. So I can just type purple and white. It can show me different combinations. Ladies may be more artistic, but we men, especially those of us that are not so creative, it's very difficult for us to think about how to combine colors. Okay, so wherever you see any fine combination, and again, remember, especially for your own organization, you may already have a team that you already use. Okay, now especially with your logos, you already have a color team you are going to work with. So once you see the color team you work with, so I can now pick those colors now type here, and now put it here, maybe red and white. Which other nice color combination can you think about? Yellow and black. Which other nice combination can you think about? Yes. Which other nice combination can you think about? Yes, any other combination?
White and red.
Pink and
White
purple.
and red, right?
Yes.
White and red. White and red. Okay. So I can also put the white and red. White and red. Now, so white and red. So I don't know if you can say don't say the one that looks very clean here, but whichever one that you have seen, You just go to it and just explore it and look at the structure of how it is. Now you can see so many types, right? You can see this one now. So you have 15 examples. So I can go there and now look at what combination that they have, right? So you see the different ideas that you can have. Let me see. Okay, so I'm just giving you a guide on how you do. Now you can see some examples, right? For example. Now, another thing again is that you should try not to, you see, for example, even when you are presenting certain things, if you look at it and it doesn't communicate anything to you, just by looking at it, if it's not communicating anything to you, that's not you don't want a situation where you give a report and they are calling you to ask you what you have done there. It should be self-explanatory. Okay, so don't try to make it so complex. Okay, unless that's your objective. But especially when it's to management, they don't care about all those things. What they're interested in is how is this going to make us money, or how is it going to save us money? That's what they're interested in, right? So make sure that your visual communicates whatever insight you want to share. But you see, with AI now, right? You know, have you heard of Midjourney? Midjourney. So now these are now different AIs now, right? Midjourney. So you know, Midjourney now is like an AI this thing, right? I don't know if I have signed up for this here. When we ask you to sign up, I'm not able to remember password again. Okay, join beta. How many of us are familiar with Midjourney? Username, I can't remember username. What should we call me? Let me see, Francis. Human. How many of us are familiar with this Midjourney?
An extent.
Some extent, right?
Yes, sir.
Which one is cooler? Okay, this one. AI is asking me to verify if I'm a human being. When I'm supposed to ask AI if he's a human being or not.
If AI will be able to bypass this test.
Okay, but the step is quite, I can't start verifying all these things now. But the point here is that with AI tools now, you can also design the dashboard that you also want, right? So you can also put on the AI so that you can design the dashboard that you also want, like, okay? So the point here is that if you are not a very artistic person, right, there are now tools that you can now help you to also do that, right? So sometimes when you see all those reports, you'll be wondering, wow, how did they go about this? Some people are just naturally gifted that way, right? Or you also go on YouTube and see how guys also do it. So for example, on YouTube, let me see, on YouTube, which guys are very good on YouTube that you can follow their presentations? Are you guys familiar with anybody that is very good with visualization? Let me see. Yeah, I think data with decision also. Let me see. But you check now, you can see so many this thing they have. You can see this one, this is a fancy one, this and that one that looks okay. So if I open that, now you can see these guys also try and follow this guy, but I think he's also very good when it comes to visualizations, right? So you can see how fancy this one looks. So you can see this one, right? So as you practice, right? As you practice, you'll be learning combination, how to structure the report, how to bring in icons. So these are the different things you can also do with that. Because if you say we want to sit down and start building all of them, you see sometimes it can take 2-3 session before we can finish a full what report. So that's why I just want to show you an overview of things to what be looking out for. All right, but as you keep practicing, then you start getting what familiar with them. So you can follow this guy because this guy usually like his dashboard. The way he combines his colors, very, very nice. Okay, but you can also check other guys that also you can also learn from. But this guy is also very good. So once you go through and you see any nice ones, you can always go through them. Okay, so that's about that. So when you come down to your Power BI, right? So there are things that will certainly guide you. You know, so what exactly do you want to achieve? So think about those KPIs you want to measure, right? And remember that's where your DAX now comes in, especially when you need to create your own insights. Okay, so that's where your DAX will now come in. Okay, so now when we pick our report, so let's quickly do a simple report. So let's say, for example, we want, so what questions do we want to answer now? What kind of questions do we want to answer? What kind of questions do we want to answer? Yes. So maybe I come to my visual. So let's just pick easy ones. So let me just make it straightforward so that it will not be so. So let's say on my x-axis, so my x-axis, let's say I have category. On my y-axis, I have what now? Okay, let's say everything is profit, right? So let's say profits that I'm interested in. So I can copy this and paste. Can you see that I can copy and paste, paste. So can you see that? All right, so I can copy and paste. Then I now start editing what I don't need there, right? So I can copy and paste. So you see, when you are building your report, most times, before you do it already, you must have first of all structured it on paper, what you want it to look like, right? Otherwise, if you are doing it on Power BI this way, it's just like you are doing trial and error. Okay, so you just restructure what your data you want it to look like and how the report should look like. Okay. So let's say this is what I am looking for. Maybe I can reduce it a bit. Maybe I can create one more. I can paste that here. So make sure you don't have too many visuals on it, right? So everything should just show whatever you need. Then let's say this is what we want. So maybe I can change. So maybe for this data, I can now come here now and say, okay, let me change it to that, right? So maybe another one, I want it to be a, what do you call it now? A do not chart. Maybe another one, I want it to be what now? Maybe that, maybe this, I need it to be maybe something like this, maybe. So again, remember, the choice depends on what you are trying to achieve, right? The choice depends on what you are trying to achieve. Sometimes maybe a gauge, right? Like a gauge. All right, so all these are different visuals you can go through, right? So when you are doing this again, you can also put a card, maybe a card visual. So maybe a card visual. So maybe I can put a card visual. So if I'm building a card, so you have to come and choose and say that this is the card I'm trying to build. So where's my card? So this is my card. So which data do I want to see there? Let's say I want to see my customers, right? So in that customers, what I can do, I can just click this. So I can say, okay, I want a distinct count. So distinct count. So I want a distinct count. Then I can quickly label it and just say customer. And I say customers. Where did the card disappear to now? So you can move that in. Okay, so that's my customers, right? So maybe I can have another set of cards, right? Maybe I have my visuals. I don't know, I still prefer the old way. To me, it's easier. The only thing that they have made easier here is if you want to edit. You know, normally you'd have gone to your properties, but now you can just right click and say format. So these are now the things that they have tried to make easier for you. But I still prefer the old way of doing it. Right? I still prefer the old way of it. So let's assume this is my visual that I have here. So let's see this. So I can also copy this and duplicate. I can just have this. So now I have this. Okay, good. So maybe here in this case, which data do we need here now? So we can come here. I don't want this data, so let's add data. So let's say we want now, maybe we want product. So what we now do, we now switch it towards account. We now switch it towards account. So distinct count, right? So we now have distinct count. So now just say product. So we can label it the product, right? Product. Maybe for this other one, let's say we have, so keep that. So we'll take that data out, we'll add another data there. Let's say we want maybe revenue. Okay, let's say profits. So this sum of profit, I'll just call it total profits. Total profits, right? Total profits. Then again, for your, so when you're formatting it, when you want to format it, right? So if I click on that, so normally you would have had your, what do you call it now? So let's go. So if I'm looking for the data, I come back here to, can you see the data here? So this is data and this is the formatting. So these are now the new ways they have done it. So if this is data now, the same way it was before, I'll click here, come here to maybe currency and switch to the currency there, right? So if it's Naira you're looking for, you know how to get your Naira. So just the same way we have been doing it before, come here on the drop down, look for where you have your Naira. Look for where you have Naira. And then we see Naira. I Naira this far. Really on top somewhere. Let me go down. Or maybe they have added, okay, see Naira here. Okay, see, Edo. So do that. So that's your Naira there. Okay, that's your Naira. So maybe this other one, let's say this is profits, right? So let's change this one. We want to format it. So we don't want customer there. We now add profits. Or sales. I think I have sales. Okay, sales. So let's add sales. Good. So here we'll call it what now? We'll call it what? Total what? Total sales, or let's call it total revenue. Total revenue. So sometimes this your card is what creates the context for you, right? It creates the context. Then the same way I come here. Now sometimes again, what you can also do, you see, I want it like to look like this exactly. So what sometimes you can just take your format painter and it come and apply it here. Do you get? So if you have done any formatting on it, so here, since I want Naira, I just come here to Naira. So since I've used Naira to say recently used, and I put recently used there. Okay, then I can arrange that. But you see, maybe it's looking so large. So what you can do normally, that you come here to format. So in that formatting, more options. So you can see title, I can say on or off. Labels, can you see on, off, right? The same way, if I want the size, maybe the text size, maybe it's too large. Maybe the height, I can reduce it a bit. Can you see that? I can reduce that a bit. padding. So background color, if you want to put it on or off, you can also do that. You can also do that. So let's say font. So where's my font? So you see my font size is large, so I can reduce the font. Can you see that? I can now reduce the font. So if I've reduced the font and I want all of them to be like this, then I just click on my format painter, then I can apply it on it. Can you see that? I can take my format painter, I apply on it, take my format painter, apply on it. So do you see that? So if you have structured your report, then again, remember you can come to your view, right? And say, okay, page view. So how do I want it to look at? So like maybe like my teams, let's say my teams, I want a particular team, right? So whichever team you want, select. Then if I was to put my image, so for example, for your images now, let's come to, so you can see your text. So let's say this is my image. You know, before they used to put the, so maybe this is the logo I want. Maybe I bring in a logo there. So I bring in that logo and put it there. Then, you know, if you want to put your name or whatever, so I have to use a text box. So I come here, text box. So in that text box, let's call it what? Maybe let's call it performance report. Performance report. You can highlight that, and make it bold, right? Then you can move that. So let's move that. Sorry, you can move that somewhere there. Okay, so now maybe we can just increase the fonts a bit, maybe about 20. So once you take note of is that while you are working on it, just make sure that you are thinking about how the flow should go, right? So you can just choose that, then choose whatever color that you want. Okay. And that thing again, most times you can also do to avoid you doing all this. Maybe you're not sure of the kind of structure that you want. Do you know how to take a screenshot? You know how to take a screenshot on your system? You know how to take screenshot on your system?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you know OneNote now. You know how to use OneNote.
Yes.
So you know the shortcut is Shift Window S. Shift Window S. You just take a screenshot of it. And you can take a screenshot of it. Now, what you are just trying to do is just to, because you know that Power BI itself is a reporting tool, isn't it? But you know, some people who like to add more aesthetics in their designs, right? So you can just take a screenshot of it, then you can take it to PowerPoint. So maybe you can take it to your PowerPoint. So maybe we'll go to PowerPoint. So you can see the PowerPoint here, right? So you can see the PowerPoint. So you can just take that out. So you paste it there. So you can see how it will look, right? But sometimes you also need to gauge it a bit so that when you are saving it, you can take exactly how it is. So let's say this is how the structure should look like. So it is easier to actually build the report, the structure of the report in your PowerPoint. Then you now take it from your PowerPoint into Power BI. So again, you see where Microsoft, you can now combine different tools to now work with. So for example, I can take maybe this shape now. So I want this shape to be here. Can you see that? So what I'm trying to do is just to like view the structure of how it's going to look like. So I want it to be here like this. Right? So maybe so any design I want to do here, I will just do the design at this point, right? So maybe you want to format. Okay, maybe I can leave the shape there. Maybe shape fill color. So you just think about a color theme. Which color theme should we use? Okay, if this is blue already. Now again, remember, I think I've shown you guys how to use an image color picker. Are you guys familiar with image color picker?
Yes, in PowerPoint.
In PowerPoint. No, even the so if you go to the website, right? So if I go on Google now, so image color picker, right? So just for example, if you have your company logo, you know, sometimes your company logo may be difficult to get, you are not sure of the, you know, the hex and the RGB color. You are not sure of the exact color. So with image picker, we'll just come here, just say use your image, download the image that you want, maybe a particular color. We'll go to my text. So maybe this particular color, I don't know which color this is, right? So I come here, can you see that? So any color I see, I can now see the exact color that I need. Do you see that? You can now pick exactly every color that you now need. Because this is a very important skill that you must also learn how to, especially with your own company logo. You want to get the exact match of the color. Okay. So once you get that, it will give you either the hex, which you can copy there, or you take this color there, this combination. So either the hex you can take, or you can just copy that. Then when you now get to either your PowerPoint or your Power BI, right? You can now also do that. So if I come here now, so I want to get that exact color there. So I can come to the format. So where's the format now? Okay, maybe I can come to shape view. So you can come to more colors. Can you see more colors? So you see that hex, this idea. Since I've copied it, I can come here and paste. Enter. So you see, it will give me, is that the color that I picked? So maybe that's the color I pasted there. But once you copy that this thing there, it will give you the exact color that you have filled there, right? Or you can design the one you want, right? You can design the one that you want and pick. But if that is the color, so let me go and look for that exact color again and copy it. So let me copy. Okay. So if I copy that, so let me go down to my PowerPoint. But you see, all this it takes time. So this is actually where what actually takes your time when you are building your reports, right? Especially when you are trying to edit them. So I'll come to more color fill. Then let me paste this here. Enter. So can you see that's the color that I've decided? So if this is the color theme I want to use all through, right? Then again, if you want to make, so in all your editing, right? So if you come to shape effect, you can now add different shape effects on it. So when you see some kind of PowerPoint, Power BI designs, you're wondering, how did they do these things on Power BI? It's usually not in Power BI they do it. They will take it to another tool. For example, if you are used to maybe things like your Corel Draw, which other one, Photoshop, can you see that? So where you now can do all kind of crazy designs on it, right? So if you want, you now start picking the different things that you want. So when you see some kind of report, if you wonder how did they do all these designs on your Power BI, it's usually not in Power BI, right? So they would have taken it to another tool. So you see how that blue is given to it. So maybe I have picked this. This is the one I want now, right? So, and I want to replicate it all through. So I can just copy. Once I've done one, I just paste, paste, paste. So you see that I can do that. So just cover the shape the way I want it. Take the shape where I want it. Okay, let me copy, paste. Maybe I take another shape. Maybe I copy and paste again. Maybe I can take another one down here. Right, so I can use that to cover this up. Okay. Then another thing again, you are also going to look out for. You will also look for alignments. Just make sure they are always what aligned, right? You know, there are some people that have is it OCD? The same thing we report. There are some people that have that OCD. When there is no alignment, it gets them off, right? So anyway, I hope you get the point what I'm trying to do, right? So then again, some people now they want to change the background. So if I just right click and just say format background, sometimes you may want to put like a light gray background or something there. So since I've got that shape out, I can take it out. So you notice what I've done, right? So I use that my layout just to get the structure of what I want. Okay. So once if I get the structure of what I want, so maybe what I can do, even this our back color there, if we are use that purple, it will also be nice. Let's maybe just pick that purple. Now you see sometimes it give you these colors, right? So these colors are the lines. You see those lines around it. So what you can do, I can just come to this line and say no line. Let me highlight everything. Do it again. Right, no line. Is that line still there? Solid line, no line. Still outline, no outline. That line is still showing, no fill. That thing again, if case let me also show you that one. So sometimes if you already, you already have, maybe you already have the background, right? With the report at the background, isn't it? So if I want to fade it there, I can now come here and put transparency. Can you see that? It will now show at the background like this. Can you see that? So there are certain times you may want to put certain things at the background, then you now fade it. So this is how they usually do those kind of fading. This transparency they put. You see the transparency there? It will fade it. But here, all we want to just do is just to like create a kind of structure for you. So once you have that structure, maybe here we'll just have the title there, right? Maybe you have the title there. Then when you are done with that, maybe when you want to save it now, so you can save as a picture. So when you want to save, you can, let me see if I right click, you just save as picture. No. So what I can do here, I say save as. Now, when you are saving it, you are not saving as PowerPoint. You save it as, I think it's SVG file, SVG. Save as SVG. So let's, do you have any SVG there? Can we say anything like SVG?
That's this scalable vector graphics.
Where did you see it now?
What was the last part?
Look at it here. So SVG, scalable vector graphics here. So that when you are designing, you can easily. So maybe I call this one background. Right? Maybe I call it what background. Now just this one, because if you have different slides, just only choose that one. Just say just this one. Okay. But again, that's where you can also bring in maybe icons. Maybe you have icons. Maybe icons. You can now bring the icons. Maybe let's just choose a few of them. Let's pick a few of them. So all the icons should reflect what that chart is about, right? So let's bring just 3 for now. So you can see now I can just reduce that. I can reduce it. Now, even this icon, you see this icon is already black. So what I want to do, I want to change it to white. So I'll just change it to white here. So I can reduce that. So I'm sure we have seen this in some reports, right? Where they put icons. So sometimes those icons don't come straight from your Power BI. They can also do it in your PowerPoint. They just create the structure here. And maybe Africa, make it white, something like this. So that's your icons. The same way you can also bring in pictures, right? You can also bring in pictures. Then some people would like to also change, maybe those who like to format their background, right? Sometimes they format the entire background, they just format it black, right? They format it black. They can take away this thing there. Then let's say this is what you have decided to design, right? But this is too dark, right? So most times try and make it lighter. This is too dark. So this is where I say, for those of you who are more artistic, right? You know how to choose your color. So once you are done, you save it. So remember, I say we are saving it as what? Okay, let me call it background. So save as F12, save as, then scalable vector graphics. So I just call it background. Background. Okay, so I've saved it the background, yes. So my desktop background. Okay, so just this one. So that's all. So let's say I've designed it here, right? So the next thing I'll do, I'll go to my Power BI. So that's actually what will take time. Beyond once you have done with your reporting, right? So that's why if you have created a structure like this, is a background like, so that's what subsequently, whenever you want to design, once you have just created, so whenever you are free and you are learning, just create different structures and keep them. So in case anytime you want, you don't have to waste time and start going to build them. You just go there straight. You just go there straight and just what? Pick it up from there. Okay. So here on your background, so if I say maybe format canvas, so in your formatting now, so you see where you have your view, right? So maybe I want to format, okay, team. Now, but your team already, so maybe browse team. If I want to bring in teams, I want to bring in now. Let me bring in my, so you know my page view. So this is actual fit. And that's in again, in case you are designing for mobile phone, how it should appear on mobile phone, that's where you have to come to your page view. Because remember, with your Power BI, you know there are different aspects. You have your Power BI desktop, your Power BI mobile, and Power BI service, right? So whenever you are building for your phone, this is where that's where you come to. That's your phone. So you can now design how you want it to appear on your phone, right? So this is what you are looking at here. So when you design it, this is how exactly it's going to appear on your phone when you download it. I think I showed you guys how to. Have you downloaded the one on the app? Either on the App Store or for Android. I don't know whether you have for Android, but I know for Apple you have it. So this is where you can design the way you want it to look. Once you are done with the design, so this will be designed for mobile. Then you can also have your design for your desktop. Okay, for desktop now, so import canvas. So you can see image, right? Or okay, let's say wallpaper. Wallpaper. Let's bring in on my desktop. I called it background, right? Let me see all files. Let me see background. So that background, let me see. Now, can you see what has gone? Can you see what has gone? It has brought it, but you see, it did not match this thing, but we got it a bit, right? It didn't match exactly, but you notice that you cannot edit it here anymore, isn't it? So what do we need to do? we will now know, okay, this one, we need to bring it down a bit, is it not? We need to bring this down a bit, right? So we need to bring this particular one down. So let's go back there. So go back to PowerPoint. Again, edit it. So you see, this one will have to come down a bit, is it not? It has to come down a bit. Will this be okay, or should this still come down a bit? Or let's take this. Now, also do check for alignment, because since most of my own sizes are they all the same? Anyways, I think there's usually a shortcut to even make all of them aligned. Shape. I think there's somewhere they have aligned. Okay, aligned. Yes, align center. No. And shall I not struggle down? So let's say this is what we have there. Let's take that. Okay. So let's save. Save it again. F12. Save as what? Don't forget background. So let me save it again. Yes. Yes. Just this one. All right. Let's go back to take it out. Import it back again. Background. It seems it's too high. That means this has to still come down a bit, and this one will come down to the ends. But you see, once it fits, it will now be easier for you to now watch, do all your structuring. So let's go back there. So you see, once you have got your own, so maybe this will come, so maybe all this should come down. And this color seems to be too dark. I mean, it doesn't really fit well on that. So let me take it down a bit. Take it down a bit. Okay, let's look for another nice color. I mean, this orange is too dark. Okay. Line. I don't want line. Where is the outline? Shape outline. I don't want no outline. But which color is that second one that is showing there? Shape outline. No field. Okay, I'm sure it's the shape. You know, I think the effect that I put. Okay, no worries. Any that. I hope this is low enough. So hopefully this should fit properly. So let's save again. Let's save it again. Let's save it again. Background. Just this one. All right. So let's go and remove it. So you know what we did? Just come here to your formats. My screen has gone. So let me try and connect my. Let me try and connect them back. So that's why I see when you are learning your own, then just always learn to build different templates and just keep them. Once you get anybody design that you like, just create that structure as the templates and go and keep them, right? So subsequently, when you want to build reports, that's another thing that will help you do things faster, right? So once you have seen the template that you like, okay, I like this template, so you just create that structure, create everything in that PowerPoint. So once you just get there, just report the background. Like the enemies are at work. The system doesn't want, the other system doesn't want to come up. I'm using to share my screen. All right, okay. Okay, now let me log in. All right, let me log in now. Now. Okay. So let me share my screen. All right, is my screen up now? Yes, it's up. All right, so format. So my backgrounds, formats, canvas background, browse, background, open. Now the transparency, then I have to now so did this fit? It looks like anyway, but you get the point, right? So we can now start filling in. So you see now we have created the structure of how it looks like now, isn't it? So all those are visuals that we are now building. So we can now start building them here. So maybe I can now take one. So this is maybe revenue. So category by profits. Now, another thing again, you take note of now. So all these colors that you want, right? You now have to start formatting all of them to fit what you want to do. So so you just right click and come to your formats, then choose whatever theme color that you want. So especially if you want maybe like a purple theme like this. So if I come to view themes, so this is about blue, so I can come here. So that's like a blue theme. So I can now choose our report. Well, this color seems too dark. Too dark. Okay, anyway, let's continue. So category by y-axis, let's say by profits. All right. So you can now reduce that. Now, you know, another thing again you can do, you see on each of these, your visuals, right? So let me format again. So let's format that. So on the title, sometimes you'd have put the title here. You can also create and put a title there, right? So that it doesn't always appear this way. X-axis, I don't want that thing to show. Y-axis, I don't want it to show. Then maybe I need my what? So this color, I want to choose. Which color will now bring it out? White? No, white will not. Which color combination will come out with this? Data labels, I can put that on. So which color will come out with this?
But we need to get rid of that white background.
Yes.
So the
that
color
white
we are
background,
now going to use for our chart should not be back blue, whether it will blend with the.
you said?
We will
You
now
see
have to, our bar chart will not be like maybe color red will be a good contrast on.
Yes, red, right? It will be a okay. Let's see.
A bright red. That's cool.
We are our ladies now. Ladies, people know how to do pick colors now.
This is not a face.
Yes, it's like this is where your makeup skills now come into play now.
This is not a face.
Yeah. So format. So for that, your background. So property. So grid. So if there are grid lines, you can take that grid, but there's no grid line there. So plot area background. So this format background. So that white, not to make it what now?
How do you make it transparent?
Yeah, right. To make it transparent, isn't it? Yes, I think so. Transparency will be fine. Okay. So you see what I had done. Let me undo it again so that I see what happened there. So I just right click on the background itself, right? Just format. Right click on format. Okay. So you see where you have white. If I was to choose the color, I would have chosen another color there, right? But otherwise, if I do not want that, I can just come and make it all transparent so it take everything out there.
There is even a button there. You can press on or off for that background.
Okay, background on off, exactly. Background off, exactly. Good. So once you are done with that, you see how you can now make your charts look much more. Then your font size, your font colors, so you can just type there font. font. So let's look at, unless you can make it bold, maybe increase it. For this particular one now, format, text, is that it there? Which text is this now? Okay, this is for tooltip. So the one I'm looking for is this particular one here, format labels. If I don't want data label on, I can put it on here. Then if you want to make it bigger, is it getting bigger at all? Then where is the color theme? Font color. So I just type font color. So I can't remember where the theme is. I say color. So do we have for fonts? Did you see? Okay, this is values, right? Can we make it white? Good. Make it white. So you do all the formatting there, right? Then your title, on your either you can put here, you can now insert your maybe text box here. You can now insert a text box here, or what you can also do, you can also, so let's say for example, this is what, let's say this is category by profits. Let's say this category by profit, right? So in your shapes, you can also bring the shapes, right? So maybe I can use this oval shape here, right? So you see, when you are designing in PowerPoint, you have also bought this thing, so you can put in the title there. So you can also bring the title. So you can design it right inside your PowerPoint. So because here we just forgot, we would have just designed something like so that we can have our headers. Then we'll now incorporate that. We'll now bring in the title there. And let's move that. Move that. Can we format? Did I remove delete it? Okay, anyways, let me just remove that. But what I was just saying that when you are creating your shape in PowerPoint, also creates room for the title, right? So it can look proper. But if not, you now have to come and design with the text box. But let me take that out. So after you are done with all these text box and the rest, right? So you are done with all your visuals. Let's say, for example, you see this particular visual, right? You see this particular visual. You see this particular visual. You come here, there's a visual called Smart Narrative. Have you ever used Smart Narrative? Smart Narrative. So can you see the Smart Narrative? So Smart Narrative will help you. It's like an AI that will help you to do your interpretations, right? So that's your Smart Narrative, right? So you can always find a way to put, so if you, in case you don't want a particular visual, or you want the particular report there, so this will be like the interpretation of it. So it's called Smart Narrative. Okay. There's also another one called your Key Influencer. Can you see Key Influencer? So Key Influencer is just like saying what is driving this particular, maybe for example, if it's your profit or your revenue. So what do I want to analyze? Maybe I want to analyze my sales. Maybe I want to analyze my sales. So what are those things that will drive my sales? So explained by, right? So I can say maybe category. So it's just like your regression. It's just like your regression, right? You know your normal regression, but you now be choosing the different variables that you want. Product name, order day, let's say city. But in this case, you can now put both your both quantitative and qualitative data, but you will need a particular minimum before it will start reading it for you. See, now it cannot find anything right now. So let's say quantity segment. See, this one is not even picking. Let me see the other one, shift mode. It's still not picking. Okay, let me see profits. Let me analyze by profits. Aha. Okay, by profits. So this and that one, they call it key influencer. So most times, once you see, you now tell you what is the major thing that is driving that particular word. Maybe, for example, your profits, right? So did I put profits here before? Yeah. So let me take that out. So it has still not seen anything there, right? So let me put sales. Aha. So normally what it does for you, if you highlight what is the major thing driving it. So if I now come to top segment, you can now see the breakdown of it. Okay. So key influencer is also another important thing that you can also do. So normally when you are designing your visuals, make sure you do not jam pack everything in one place. So what you can do, you can have one, just that one maybe called profit reports. Another one will be called maybe regional analysis. Another one can be called custom. So you can break them in different charts. So those are the different reports. So you can have sales report, performance report, regional reports, right? Or product analysis reports. So each of them will be on their own. But the dashboard itself is, I'll pick from sales report, I'll pick the most important thing there. I'll pick from performance report, I'll pick one thing there. I'll pick from customer report, I'll pick another thing there. I'll pick from product report, I pick another thing there. Do you see that? So when I pick from all these different reports and summarize it in one page, that is what is referred to as what the dashboard. Do you get that? But when we are doing them, if it's just only one, maybe this is just performance. So this performance can also be called the dashboard. But technically, each of them, they are all reports. But the summary of all your reports in that one page is what is referred to as what? The dashboard. Do we get that now? Because sometimes we use them interchangeably. So if you just want, this your report can also be referred to as the dashboard. But when you now have a series of reports, so the summary of those reports in a particular page is what they refer to as what? The dashboard. So sometimes they call it the executive dashboard. So that gives you like an overview of the what organization. Is that clear? Do we get that?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Now, another thing again, I also want to show us, especially if we have, okay, maybe I'll just import another, let me just import another one. So let me show you something else, because especially when you are going to be doing your automation, you don't want a situation where, okay, let me use this data store append. Okay, data store append. Okay, data store append. So let me. Although we'll try this, let me see whether this works here. Okay. All right, okay, that's fine. So let me open that page. Okay, data store append. Now look at this Excel file. Look at this Excel. The enemy don't want me to share. You don't want me to share my screen. Enemies are at work. They have said I should not share my screen. Let me close some other things there so that cancel. share screen. Okay, Power BI can share, but I still can't. It refused to share my Excel screen. It has refused to share my Excel screen. Okay, let me see that my. Can you see my Excel screen now?
Yes.
You can see this now, right?
Yes.
Good. So take note here. You see, you have different sheets here, right? So you have central, east, west, is it not? So we have different sheets. So imagine that there are different branches now. You see that report, that template we created, right? You know, when you are going to do your consolidation, they are going to consolidate all the branches as one, right? So it means you are going to have central, west, and east. Okay, but I'm going to create them maybe in the head office now. So just imagine you're in the head office now. So central, they have sent their own report, their own data. East, west has sent their own, east has sent their. Remaining south has not sent their own yet, is it not? But you need to do your own report. You cannot be waiting for south to send their own now, isn't it? So now, let's say this is what you now have, right? Let's say this is what you now have. So let's go back to our Power BI. So let's go back to Power BI. So let's get data append. Okay. So now, you know, how do we normally select the data? How do we normally select data? If you want to import the data, how do you normally select it? We'll pick from here, is it not? We say central, yes. East, west, is it not? Central, east, west. This is what we'll do. They will now say transform data. Is that what we normally do?
Yes.
Please do not follow this. So when you want to append different sheets, do not follow this method. Right? So rather, what do you do? Come here. Can you see where the folder is? Can you see where the folder is? Right click and say transform data. Can you see that transform data? Transform data. Can you see now? It will take the three of them. Normally, you have taken one by one. The reason why you don't want to do that is because you want to look at it from the file. You don't want to go one by one. You don't want to import it one after the other. You are importing everything at once. Okay. So when you import the next one, automatically it's going to what? Go to that source straight and pick central, west, east. So when I add south will just quickly fit into it. So do not pick it one by one. Follow that other approach. So what we are going to do, we are going to take out. So this is so we can take out all these other ones. So I just come here to hit it. The one I say true, I'll take it out because those ones we don't want anything hidden there. So this is where you have your data. So this is what they refer to as the metadata. Data about the data. It's called metadata. So this is where we have the data, isn't it? So what do I do? I'll just right click and say remove other columns. Do you see that? Remove other columns. So I'm left with just the data. So what do? I will expand it here. So I'll say okay. I will expand it here. Right? So which means, so how do I clean this? What do I need to clean here now? What do I need to clean here now?
It's a header.
Yes. Use first row as header, isn't it? Use first row as header.
Yes.
Now you know that in that our Excel sheet, remember our Excel sheet, right? In that our Excel sheet, you remember that central was in a separate sheet. Yes. West was on a separate sheet. East was on a separate sheet. Remember that? So which means if we now bring it here, If we bring it here, so if I come to region now, if I come to region, how many regions should I have there? If I know it's correct, how many regions should I have there?
3 regions.
I should have 3 regions, right?
Yes.
Can you see the 3 regions now? Central, East, and West. Now this region, what it has done, it has appended it. So it means it will take Central, the data, take the next one, East data, take the next one, West data. So because this is a header, I will try to remove it so that I only have 3 things there. So I only have Central. So if I'm scrolling, can you see how the data is looking now?
Sorry, Dr. Francis.
Yes.
It's because of the way you loaded the data. That's why it came out.
Yeah.
You appended it on its own, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So this just to go straight. Otherwise, you come to append queries. That's what it has done. It's appending queries. So you see, because this data is quite large, right? So just to confirm that what is so immediate. So the first data is on top. So that's for Central. So let's go to the next one. This data is large. This data is large.
That's the reason why it shows those error messages when you try to filter.
Yes. I can't remember how many there are, but let me see control. This thing is large. I just want to so that I just confirm that it's doing the corrective for you. Because if I have imported just one data, one of those sheets, it would have only showed me Central, is it not? But now it showed me Central, East. Which year will I finish this thing now? So you can see West now.
Yes.
So it means it's picked it. So you can see what has happened now, is it not? Now look at that point where I put region. You see that region? Let me put it back, region. Hey, that's gone back. Oh. So that region means that it has taken that column, that particular row, and showed it as what? Region data.
Okay.
As a header. But meanwhile, if I put it as a header, I don't need that header. So that's why I had to remove that region there. So let me show you again. There's that shortcut again to scroll down. So just show you how this thing works. Because this is what will normally save you time. If not, if you go and decide to do them one by one. Now, can you see what has happened there? You see where that error is? Can you see that?
Okay.
So that's why I had to remove that region there so that it just consolidates it straight. Can you see that? So I will have to remove that region there. So I'll remove that region there and say okay. So that it will now blend now. So you see everything has been appended now, isn't it? So I'll just close and what? Apply.
Dr. Francis, I have a question. Why did you load that data that way?
Because remember what I talked about, automation. Is it not? Because remember, Central has sent their reports, their data, isn't it? East has sent their data. West. So if I come here to region, right, I should be able to see Central, East, and West. Can you see that? Central, East, and West. So if I, let's say, let me add profits. Let me add profits to it. Let me add profit. So can you see profit now? So imagine now that report we have built the report for the entire one, is it not? Now, South, they are woken up. Let me see, do I have South here? Yes. So can you see, let me see, okay, let me see, there open South. South, okay. Can you see South? This is for South. Can you see South data now? Is South data, is their own the Southern branch, is it part of the data that we have consolidated?
No.
It's not part of it, is it not?
No.
So, and remember the report that we built. So let's assume that we have built maybe, let me paste. Let's assume we have built our report now, right? So let's assume these are the reports we have built, right? Let me go to visual. Let me go and build something else. Let me build another one. So let me take this data. Let me take. So I just want regions so that regions can reflect. So let me take here as sales. Okay, so sales by region, goods. So let me
What
take,
of if each of the different regions reports is in a different format? How would that work?
you see, that's where the problem starts. That is where the problem starts. You see, that's why we talk about as managers, right? From the top, right? You need to drive that data culture so that they understand everything. That is, especially you that are doing the report, tell others how you need it to be. Otherwise, even if it comes to different reports, you first of all go and clean it first. But the most important thing, they should be consistent with how the report, that their report is. Okay. So let's assume this is the report that we have built. So that let's just leave it so that one will be clear as where's that region now? Okay, let's just leave it this way, right? So this is the region. So here, so far, we cannot see south here, you know. We can't see south. Okay. So for that south, so once we open our south data now, we have to go and join it in the other data. So I'll just say create a copy, move it to the other data with the append, Superstore append. Okay. So I'll say okay. So can you see now we now have central, west, east, is it not?
Yeah.
So maybe I will just call this south. Maybe I'll just call this. Okay, let me just even leave it like that, right? So I will save it. I will save it. Can you see that? I've saved it on this file. Remember when I imported from source, remember it was these 3 sheets. It was 3 sheets I picked, is it not?
Yeah.
Now I have added another sheet. That sheet is for south, is it not? So let's go back to our report. So in this our report, so once I've built my report, the only thing I'll do, I'll click refresh. I'll click refresh. Did it work now?
Okay.
Did it work now?
Yes, it did.
It worked now, is it not?
Yes.
So now I have automated that
It's
task.
okay.
So imagine I had 10 branches that way. Can you see that? So once I just keep adding them, the report will just be building and adding for everybody. And that's how you build those workflows. So that once you have created one template, this is where the automation now comes in.
Okay.
So that's why I say use this method I showed you to import the data. Don't go and import each of them one after the other. Just import it from the folder straight.
Dr. Ross, if I imported it individually, that means it won't have shown.
It will work. You have to now go back to the source and now go and tell it, please add this data, add this data, add this data to it.
Okay.
So that's where the trick now comes in. I hope this is clear.
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Francis, I have a question.
Yes.
So you know how we are doing templates? Isn't there something like how building a PowerPoint report where you have like custom made template and just bring in and edit? Is there no feature like that in Power BI?
Not yet. Not yet. They are not there yet.
Okay.
Right. So the only way they have that kind of template is when you come to your view, right? Teams. This is the only thing that they have for now, right? Because remember, each person's report is unique. You get, so there's no one way they can just say this is what you use. So that's why I say most times, anyone you like, just be building them in your PowerPoint and be keeping them. So anytime you want, just come and put them there and just start working, okay? But this is one thing that will save you time when you are trying to build your reports, especially when you are working with different branches and you're in head office and you need to work consolidate it. So this is one way to save yourself time. So I think with this, we have come to the end of Power BI. But if there's any time we need, even time we come back again to Power BI, then we'll be working with projects, right? So we'll take one project, then we'll walk through everything, how to import from a database, how to build your DAX measures, your data model, and visualization. So we'll now work with projects. But for now, what we have done is just to take you through each part of it, importing the data, modeling, building your DAX, and some tips in visualizations. Okay, so when we are building projects another time, whenever we meet again in Power BI, we'll now do a full-blown project where everything will be end to end. But for now, we are just showing the different parts, okay? So I think with this, we have come to the end of Power BI. So I think next week, right? Chinonye, I think next week now we're starting with R.
Yes, sir. Next week we're starting with R.
Next week we're starting with R. So try and install the R. Who will be taking the R now?
Olumide will be taking the first three
Okay,
sessions of R.
so it has been finalized, right? Okay, so, okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, no problem. So hopefully we'll see next week, or whenever I can join you guys. Anytime I need to fill in, I'll come in, right? But see you guys next time. Take care.
Before you go,
Okay,
Dr.
sir. Thank you,
Francis.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Someone has a question recently about presenting, automating this process of visualization. I want to ask, what's the role of Fabric and Copilot? How do we?
Okay, so for like your Copilot, right? Especially when you are building your DAX, right? So that's where your Copilot now comes in. But with my now I've not been able to set up my own, so maybe that's why I haven't. So if I come to quick measure, can you see suggest with Copilot? Can you see it? It's for building DAX measures.
Okay.
So whenever you are building your measure, so for example, I want to get average. So remember when I talked about your Q&A, where is your, so in your visuals, there's something called Q&A, right? So just like your Q&A. Where is my, so this is my Q&A. You know my Q&A, I'll just ask questions. I'll just ask the question there. Which region has the highest, right? So these are just for the visuals, right? These are just for the visuals. But when it now comes to your DAX measures, that is where Copilot now comes in to now help you quickly build your DAX. So it will just go through it and build a DAX measure for you. That's what your Copilot does for you. Okay. However, if you don't want to go through this route, this is where ChatGPT can also come for you. Write a DAX measure on, put whatever variable you want to do, right? So that's why you need to understand the basics of the DAX first. So that even when you take it to Power BI or even the Copilot, right, you can also understand what it's doing at the back end and also help to edit. So that's where Copilot now comes in. Because remember, beyond this stage here, we talk about the deployment stage, right? So that way you talk about your fabrics and every other thing to go end to end. But your Copilot generally is for building your DAX measures. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Because I have a class to another session to join now. So let me just run and join you. All right, I'll see you guys next time. So hopefully if I can join you guys next time.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care.
You.
All right, no problem.